Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. Today's video is something I kind of cut out of another video. Decided to just cut it out because a lot of people don't want to hear about safety. But I thought this was kind of an important thing, and although it has to do with safety, it also has to do with, I think, some misconceptions about certain tools. And this is one I use a lot. I probably use it improperly way too often, and you have to be careful with them, but I honestly don't think they're as bad as people make them out to be. And I use it all the time. I don't use a guard with it, so you're going to see that in this. So I know I'm talking about safety to some extent, but I'm also talking about sometimes the information out there can be a little bit over the top, in my opinion. Now here's where I say, if you do anything I do and you hurt yourself, I am not responsible. If you don't like the way I'm doing something, don't do it. So this is definitely something that could get dangerous if you improperly use the tool. But I also think a lot of that information out there about these is maybe not wrong. I'm sure these things have happened, but it's not the tool's fault. It's the fault of the person using the tool. They're using it incorrectly, which sometimes, admittedly, with this tool, I even talk about that, I use it incorrectly. I use it just because I need to get into a certain space or cut a certain thing to where you can't get onto it in a safer manner. Now, in that aspect, I also, when I know I'm going to be doing stuff, I talk about this as well, so I won't go on too much, but I have safety equipment I use, but that doesn't mean it's the safety equipment you should use to keep safe. So, yet again, I'm not responsible if you do hurt yourself or if you have some sort of catastrophic problem with this tool. I do think it gets a bad rap, we'll put it that way. As you can see, well, maybe not, I got hung up. And that was spinning very, very fast. So first of all, I'm glad I had my face shield on. You can see that. Second of all, I almost thought about just pulling it out and then starting again. But I thought, no, that was a pretty big hang up. And it felt a little funny when it was turning and it was spinning really, you know, I had it free spinning there for a while. So I shut it off, and that is actually what it looked like. I could not tell it was broke that bad when it was spinning there on the grinder. So there's a definite thing. It happens, but as you can see, people think these are just horrible and they explode. It may happen, but I've never had one just explode. I've had this happen before a couple times. I've dropped them and cracked them and that kind of stuff, but they're not as bad most of the time as people think, because I mean, if anything was going to explode, it would have been that. Not saying it can't happen, because, you know, it could. That's why I'm wearing all the safety gear right now, because I had one accident. I don't know, I think it was during one of my welding videos, and I sliced myself. I showed it in that video, and it was just, I caught an edge because I was using this incorrectly, just like I was there. Sometimes you have to get on an edge in the direction you shouldn't go. But it did bust and slice me. But most of that was because it went out of my hand and it was still spinning when it hit me, so luckily that didn't happen this time, and if it would have, I had as much safety gear on as I could possibly have on. This is more than I normally have, just because I'm doing a lot of, honestly, I pick this thing up 90% of the time. I have my glasses on, I do a little bit of something, and I stop. But since I knew I was doing a lot, then you need to hedge your bets that maybe you should put a little bit more safety gear on. And by the way, in case you're wondering, cheapy Harbor Freight one. This was one of the old stock ones. I don't even know if you can get these anymore, but I bought a bunch of them when they were on a really good deal, and I still have a few. I really like these ones, but like I said, cheapest thing I could get at the time, and it didn't explode. Not saying they won't, but it didn't. So I do want people to be safe, be aware. Bad things can happen with any tool you use. Comment below if you've had just a random, you turn it on and the thing exploded type thing. If it wasn't your fault. Comment if it was your fault. Comment on the types you like and don't like to use because you've had good or bad or otherwise problems with them. Comment below about this, and I wouldn't mind having a discussion about what people use for these, because I use the cheapest ones I can find on the day I can find them. Basically, if I need them, I go grab them at Harbor Freight most of the time. I have some that I bought off Amazon that I haven't even really gotten into yet. I just buy them when I find them cheap, and I find that I've never bought a super expensive one, but I bought some pretty nice ones that I don't think last any longer, like DeWalt and those kind of things. So comment below if you know one that lasts forever. I would appreciate some comments, and whether or not you have had an experience like people are stating out there, because I've been doing this for a long time. I probably use that tool, if not once a week, at least once a month. I'm grabbing that thing and cutting some big chunk of metal or something with it, and I've been doing it for over 30 years now, probably closer to 38 to 40 years, we'll put it that way, and I have never had one just explode unless I used it improperly, or maybe if you drop it and didn't see a crack, then I could see it exploding as soon as you turn it on. But yet again, that's user error. So I don't know, I don't want to go on any more about it. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you're safe with whatever kind of tool you're using. Now get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one.